Are you thinking about buying a home but you're not sure where to start? Well, keep watching. Hi, my name is Yubi and I'm a realtor with Preferred Real Estate Brokers serving Central Florida. And today I would like to talk to you about the home buying process. We're currently in what's called the seller's market, which means that there's not a lot of sellers out there and the inventory is pretty low, but there is a lot of buyers looking to buy a home. So I think this video will be useful to many of you maybe trying to start the process, but you're not sure how. So the step one is actually you making a decision to buy a home. Now you might have a lot of people around you becoming a homeowners, or maybe someone's telling you that the market is great or that the interest rates are pretty low. And even though all that might be true, it still doesn't mean that it's a perfect time for you. You have to sit down and think about, are you ready for a 30-year commitment? Do you have enough money for down payment? Do you have enough money for closing costs? Or maybe you just signed a 12 months lease with your apartment complex and you're not ready to break it. All of these things are kind of something that you need to sit down and think about it. And just because it's a perfect time for others doesn't mean that it's a perfect time for you. But in case you decide it is a perfect time for you, let's continue to the next step. So the next step is actually hiring a realtor that you would like to represent you in the transaction. Now, there's not a law that says that you need to hire a realtor, but I definitely recommend doing so. A realtor is a person that knows the area, knows the local market, and has unlimited resources to help you search that dream home. The realtor will sit down with you and ask you a series of questions to learn your preferences. He will guide you through the whole transaction, and most importantly, he will protect your interest in the transactions because they only represent you and no one else. So all their loyalty is going towards you. Now, after you successfully hired a realtor, the next step is to get a pre-approval letter from the lender. Now, your realtor might have a couple lenders that they work with, but you also should feel free to maybe, if you know someone who works as a lender, you can actually get the pre-approval letter from them. And this is kind of like a good moment for you to talk with the lender and ask about, the closing costs, the interest rate, the whole mortgage process. And it will kind of give you, an overview of that process before you actually start searching for a home. It is good to have a pre-approval letter because, like I said, we're currently in the seller's market. So the home that you may be trying to purchase, the seller is probably getting another 5 to 10 offers. So if your offer does not contain a pre-approval letter that show the seller that you have financial strength to purchase the home, there's a huge chance that the seller will actually reject your offer from the get-going. And then also the pre-approval letter kind of gives you an idea of how much you can actually afford. Now, maybe you had this raise at work, maybe you're getting a bonus every quarter, but the lenders are looking at that differently. They go into further history, they're looking at your financial behavior, and that's how they're making a decision of whether you qualify for the loan and how much you can get. So all this is kind of good to know before you actually start looking for a home. Now, after you got the pre-approval letter from the lender, the next step is to actually start searching for your dream home. Now, when you submit an offer for a home, for most loans, we know that it will take between 30 and 45 days to close. But we don't really know how long it will take you to find that perfect home that you're looking for. So usually this is the longest step in the whole process, but that's why your realtor is there. You're gonna share with them all your preferences, what you're looking for, what area you're looking for, what school zone, and that will help them narrow down the search and only send you the properties that are fitting your criteria. Also, the important part of this process is not to rush yourself, or don't let anybody else rush you, because you want to make sure that this is actually the home that you're looking for. In most people's life, the home buying is the biggest purchase of their lives, and you want to make sure that after you buy your home, you're completely satisfied with that purchase. Now, the next step is after you found that perfect home and you decide that you want to buy it, your agent will actually submit an offer to the seller's agent or to the seller in case the seller is not represented by the agent. Now, when the seller or their agent receive the offer, they might provide a counter offer. I'm not going to go into details of that right now. It might be a subject for one of the next videos. So let's pretend that you submitted an offer and the offer is accepted, and now we're moving to the next step. So after your offer is accepted, the next step is to submit the escrow deposit. Escrow deposit is usually around 1% of the purchase price, and it serves as a proof to the seller that you are a serious buyer. You will usually have around 3 days to submit it, and it will be submitted to the title company that will be handling the closing. At the closing table, that 1% that you submitted will go towards the purchase price. Now, once your offer is accepted, you have 3 days for the escrow deposit, but you have 10 days for the home inspection. So home inspection is ordered by a buyer, and basically the home inspector will go into the house, spend around 3 to 4 hours in there. They will inspect the roof and everything, and they will come back to you with a report. Now, there is no perfect home, so the home inspector will probably always find something, but the difference is what they're gonna find in there. So sometimes there might be minor repairs that you're more than happy to fix by yourself, but sometimes there'll be major repairs like, the roof is leaking or the roof needs to be changed. Now, this is why the home inspection is very important, because it will tell you the condition of the house. Now, once you get the home inspection report, you have a couple of options. So if the repairs are extensive and you're not willing to fix them, there's just too much going on with the house, you can cancel the contract and you can withdraw your offer. Now, the other option is to maybe ask the seller if there's certain repairs that needs to be done. You can ask the seller to fix them, and then you can fix the rest once you move in. And then your third option is if there's not a lot of repairs happening and if the home is mostly good condition, you can continue with the buying process. Now, in real estate, we have this thing with contracts that we say time is of the essence. So you have 10 days for that inspection. So if you decide to proceed or if you decide to cancel, everything needs to happen within those 10 days. Because once you cancel within the 10 days, you get your escrow deposit back. But in case you're late and you don't decide within those 10 days, then you might end up losing your escrow deposit, and we don't want that to happen. Now, once you perform the home inspection and you either decide to continue or maybe you agreed with the seller to perform certain repairs, the next step is the appraisal from the lender. Now, the appraisal serves for the lender to determine the value of the property and to see if the property is worth the money that they're going to be lending to you. So basically, since the bank is using or the lender is using home as a security for the mortgage, they want to make sure that the home is really worth the money that they're going to be giving to you. Now, if the home is priced correctly, the home that you're trying to buy, most of the time the appraisal will match the price that the seller set up. But we're currently in the seller's market, so most of the times the homes are kind of a little bit overpriced. And the problem with that situation is if the home is overpriced, the lender might not appraise it at the same price. So you might end up having to pay more out of the pocket. One of the trends that we see happening is that the price is set correctly, but there's so many buyers and they all enter into a bidding war. So let's say that the property is $300K. If the bidding war happens, the price can go up to $350. But the lender might come in and say, well, we think that this property is worth $300. So if your offer submitted is $350, you might have to come up with the difference out of your own pocket. So that's kind of a risk. If you're going into a bidding war, you need to make sure that wherever you offer more to the seller, you need to make sure that you have that money in cash to cover at closing. Now, for the purpose of this video, because we're not going to go into too many details, we're just going to assume that the home appraised correctly by their lender and we're able to continue with the next step. So the next step would be for the lender to finalize the loan for you. So in this step, they're going to probably ask for additional documents like the letter from the employer, bank statements, pay stubs. All that is needed for them to actually finalize the loan, which usually happens a couple of days before closing. The best thing for you that you can do to be prepared is once you're getting that pre-approval letter from the beginning, you can actually ask for a list of documents that you need to provide from the lender. And while the rest of the process is happening, you can start collecting all those documents. So once the lender needs them, you have them all set and ready to go, so you don't hold back on the process. So after your loan is officially approved, a couple of days before closing, usually on the day of closing or the day before, you will go with your realtor and do a final walkthrough of the house. So the reason for this is that you want to make sure that the seller made all the repairs that you agreed on earlier for him to do, or you want to make sure that the house is still in the same condition that it was when you saw it. So all that is just serves to make sure that everything is in a good place before you sign the final documents. And then at the closing table, you will officially sign the documents and you will get the keys to your new home, and you're officially a homeowner. Congratulations. Now, this was just a basic overview of the whole process, and I didn't really went into too many details just because every transaction is different and there's a lot of different things that could happen during one transaction, but this was just a basic coverage of how everything should look like. Now, if you have any more questions or if you're interested in hearing more details, please feel free to reach out to me. And even if you're just thinking about buying a house, but you just have questions, you can always call me or text me or email me. If you're already a homeowner and you maybe had something different with your process, or there's something that you want to add, please comment down below. I really want to hear your experiences. And of course, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.